I saw this man last night in SoFi Stadium. I saw him. Had my son with me. Coop was hanging with me last night. Did Westwood One radio for pregame, halftime. This man did the local broadcast of the Los Angeles Rams. He is none other than Maurice Jones-Drew. How you doing, MJD?
I'm doing well, Rich. How are you?
I appreciate it. You're traveling back home already. I appreciate the phone call here. I started the show saying that this is the best the Rams have looked all year, and that they're set to win in a way that they weren't even earlier this year when they started as well as they did. How do you take that one, MJD?
I think you're exactly right, Rich. When you look at the way the Rams started, obviously, they started out hot. They were playing well, but they had some struggles. You had some turnovers by Matthew Stafford. They were running the ball, but it wasn't as explosive. And then defensively, they weren't causing turnovers. They were just getting stops and, third down stops. So you look at what happened last night. You kind of look at what happened throughout December after the Von Miller trade. You're starting to see more sacks. You're starting to see pressure from different guys. Troy Reeder with the big-time hit on the quarterback I thought was going to be a safety, but he turned it into a pick six. So now they're being opportunistic defensively. And then the other part of this, offensively, Cam Akers is just a different monster with him in the backfield. I mean, he just looks completely different. That's no shade at the other guys. The other guys, Sony Michel and Darrell Henderson, did a really good job. But you see a difference with Cam Akers there with his ability out of the backfield to run routes or to line up a receiver and have a mismatch on linebackers. And then last but not least, special teams. I mean, special teams was like a Achilles heel for the Rams the first half of the season, and it just started getting better and better. And then to have those punts down inside the 10, to give Kyler Murray that offensive long field to continue to put pressure on them every time they came out was something the Rams offense capitalized on. And then, Matthew Stafford not turning the ball over is really what you're looking for.
They're just Cam Akers is a difference maker. He really is. And I know that we don't have much to go on because of, his rookie season, and clearly this year was a washout up until right now. But I mean, he's a matchup problem, outside the numbers too, as we saw a couple times last night. He's got burst. He can also break tackles. He's somebody that if he's fresh-legged, right, and can actually get 20-something touches a game, that's the difference maker here in the entire playoffs for the Rams, you could say. You could make that case.
Yeah, I'll tell you this much. When you scouted him out of Florida State, you really didn't see that the last couple years or the last year because it was a different coach. But when he had Jimbo Fisher, you saw all that. You saw the vision. You saw the elusiveness. You saw the ability to catch out of the backfield and make guys miss, the suddenness. He kind of checked down in the game, and they got called back for holding. Made one guy miss and was 20 yards up the field in the blink of an eye. So, yeah, he brings a different element to the game, and you have to understand this as well. He's only going to get better because he's missed the whole season. So he had flashes against the Niners in Week 18. You saw what he was able to do last night against the Cardinals, and he's going to just keep getting better. And so he just brings a different element. And you're right, Rich. When they put him out at wide receiver, and a lot of times they'll put running backs out there just to kind of be a decoy, and you're just a guy. But they'll throw him the ball. And he ran past one of the linebackers for the Cardinals. I don't remember which one. And Matthew Stafford threw a ball. He just didn't track it all the way. But I tell you what, that would have been a touchdown too, and that would have been that would have really blew this game wide open.
Maurice Jones-Drew here on the Rich Eisen Show. What's your assessment of Arizona? Haven't seen him last night in person.
Well, this is the thing. Arizona always starts hot. They start hot, and then they all, for some reason, they just tail off at the end of the year.
So why is that? Why would that possibly, what could something like that be attributed to? Everybody's throwing it on the coach because he had the same problems in his 5 years at Texas in college. So what do you got for me on that, do you think?
It's a run game. It's not having a consistent run game, right? When your quarterback is a part of it, that, the read option, that doesn't work in the National Football League late in the year. You have to be able to turn around and hand the football off. And they showed elements and flashes of that last night, but it wasn't consistent, right? And I think a lot of times we get caught up in this air raid thing. We want to throw the ball, and it's awesome. But to win football games in the National Football League late in the year, you have to be able to turn around and hand the football off. And your offensive line needs to go forward, not sideways. And when you do that, you start to wear on the defense. And listen, I get it. Kyler Murray is a tremendous athlete, but he wasn't willing to run last night either, and that was a problem too. If I'm Kliff Kingsbury, I'm saying, listen, we only have one game, a one-game season. I need you to break some tackles or make some guys miss and start getting yards. Did you not see Josh Allen against the New England Patriots? Right? And we're not playing in 0-degree weather, so we need to utilize our strengths, which is Kyler's arm and his legs. And so they didn't utilize that at all, and down the stretch, that becomes a problem. And so if you look at a lot of the games, they'll run out of shotgun. They do a lot of those things, but it's not consistent enough. And throwing short passes to the sidelines or screens to the sidelines, that doesn't count as a running game mentally. Now, in the stats, you could say, hey, it's just a short pass. It's the same as a run. But running the ball is a mentality. And right now the Cardinals don't have that mentality to go out and win games on the road in the playoffs.
Maurice Jones-Drew here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, so now we get a rematch of the Week 3 contest in SoFi. It was the first loss of the year for Tampa. The Rams won that football game. They knocked Gronk out of it. Remember, Gronk missed some time with some broken ribs. That's the game in which he suffered that injury. They beat him up and took care of business. What about the rematch now with all the chips on the line and a title defense for Tampa?
I think it's going to be a little bit different than obviously Week 3. Obviously, Tampa is completely different. With guys being injured or, obviously AB not being there. I know you guys talked about that. But this is the thing. It's their offensive line is really good. If Tristan Wirfs can't come back or if his ankle or foot or whatever he hurt against Philadelphia is that bad, it's going to be an issue for them because of the Rams' defensive line. Now, I'll say this. The Rams' offensive line has a big task as well because this defensive front for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are getting after the quarterback. They're stopping the run. They're doing all the things right that they weren't doing in December, and they're playing more confident. I don't know if it's because David's back out there or if it's because, they just simplified some things. They're just playing man-to-man across the board. But those safeties are playing well. The linebackers are fitting the run the right way. So it's going to be a tough task, don't get me wrong. The question is, if you play man-to-man, who's going to cover Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham Jr.? And I think that's going to be a matchup we need to keep our eye on. And then on the other side, how does Mike Evans fare against Jalen Ramsey, right? They're going to lock him up. You don't have Chris Godwin to kind of be the guy that you have to go to. So it's going to be Chris Evans and Gronk. And how do the Rams cover him? And how do they affect Tom Brady in the pocket? So it's going to be a great matchup. Obviously, I'm going to go with the Rams just because I work for them, right? It only makes sense that I do that.
Yes.
But it's hard to go against the GOAT as well. So it's going to be a terrific matchup, but I can't wait. I know the Rams are excited to still be playing. I know they're excited to kind of, get back on the road a little bit and try to face some of those demons they've had on the road this year. And then the other part is this, is Matthew Stafford, you were brought here to be the guy to lead them to a Super Bowl. Can you do that? Can you be that guy? And the only way to do it is, I think the best way to do it is going between the greatest of all time. And I think that'll prove a lot here for the Rams.
Well, I mean, because Brady, one would think, would exploit the depth problems the Rams have at safety in a way that the Cardinals didn't even, attempt, it seemed, yesterday, or weren't able to pull off, right? I mean, how about that as a problem? Like giving Gronk and Brate and Howard a try in between the hashes over and over and over again. Your thoughts on that?
You would think Zach Ertz would have had a huge day.
Right. I don't know what the hell that was. I honestly don't. I mean, and Murray looked so fast with his feet and his decisions. It's just like, I said, again, I date myself. It's like playing a 33 record on 78 speed. That's what it looked like last night to me.
Well, the thing is this. I mean, the reason a lot of that happened was because the defensive line was getting to Murray early. Right, they were touching him, they were around him, the pocket was collapsing on him, and that's how you help that back end. Now, obviously, the Bucs have a different offensive line and a bigger, stronger one than Arizona, so it's going to be tougher. But anytime you have injuries on the back end, the front end, and I know Warren Sapp was one of our colleagues, and one time you saw they work together, right? So when one is down, the other has to pick up the slack, and you saw that. Von Miller with a big sack early in to start that game. Aaron Donald and Greg Gaines getting tremendous pressure. Leonard Floyd always around the quarterback. The more you can do that and affect Tom Brady, as we know, if you get around him with rushing forward and he gets to get those happy feet, that's what you want. And that's how you're going to protect, obviously Nick Scott and Terrell Burgess, and Eric Weddle again, a guy who gives us a retired guy's hope that maybe we can play again. Maybe there is a chance that if I get in shape, Rich, that the Rams will call me. If they make the playoffs, if they make the Super Bowl, that I get a couple weeks to kind of get right, and maybe I get a goal line carrier.
You're the C.J. Anderson, possibly, of this whole situation. Sure. You just roll you downhill a little bit.
I can give you C.J. right now. I just want to be a better version of me, though.
What should Jacksonville do with their head coach?
This is the big one. I think when I've talked to a lot of people in that organization. I think it's important that you kind of go the Rams route. And then a lot of guys have done it. When you draft a quarterback first overall and all those things, you got to put as much quarterback knowledge around him. You want your head coach to have quarterback knowledge. You want your obviously offensive coordinator to have it. You want to have a quarterback coach that's knowledgeable, then an older guy in the room. And so, to me, if you're going to go and look for a guy to be that, you want those attributes in your head coach. You want a guy that's coaching quarterbacks or has played coaching quarterbacks. So whoever that guy may be, obviously, I know a lot of people. I've been a big advocate for Jim Caldwell, Doug Peterson, Byron Leftwich. Those are guys that I think Jacksonville that they should look at. Guys that have been there. And to be honest, Byron Leftwich is the guy when I was there was a quarterback drafted in the first round. He understands it. He understands the pressures that many of us may not know. Yeah. What it takes to play at a high level in that city. And then also a guy that can relate in that locker room and make sure that everyone feels as if their voice is heard and that they're needed and wanted. And so there's a lot of those things. But I think the Jags are doing a great job of just kind of doing that net, interviewing everyone, and then slowly figuring out what they want to do. There's no rush in this. You want to make sure you get it right this time.
Yeah, exactly. And then in the interview process, you told them to make sure you ask the coach, you're not going to kick the kicker, right? That's what you do.
Yeah, we can't touch the players.
Right.
We can't
get on the plane. Make sure you fly on the plane.
We got to come back on the plane. I don't know why we have to say that, but we have to do that. Yeah, we got to come back on the plane. We got to make sure that we're doing all the little things right.
Mm-hmm. All right, Maurice Jones-Drew. It was good to see you last night, man.
Oh, it's great to see you as well, man. And listen, I think you may need to come to Tampa. You may be the secret weapon.
Yes, that's me. It's me. I was there. I was there the first night against Chicago too. So yeah, I'm 2-0.
Or maybe your son, and tell him I have.
He was there too. My hope.
He had a Hershey bar, so tell him I have a bunch of Hershey bars for him.
Yeah. By the way, he saw I brought Koopa in just so he could see his first ever press feed bag.
Oh, the room. And the spread.
And so Maurice is just see the candy on the top there? That's all for you. That's what he said. I'm like, thanks, Maurice. My gosh.
Did he snag it?
Yeah.
He got one.
He got in there.
He was a great kid. He didn't want to really, my kids would have been stealing stuff, and he's done a great job.
Thank you, Maurice Jones-Drew. Take care of yourself.
All right, you too, Rich.
That's the great MJD right here. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.